Hey, what's up everybody? DDL 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I figured I'd give y'all an NBA video. Not really sure what the topic will be. I'm winging it. I don't know what I'm going to say, so we're just going to go with this. So, do I expect the Clippers have turned it around for good and are now on a fast track to championship glory? No, I do not. But I do think this is the best team they've ever had. Like ever. Including all the Blake Griffin years, Elton Brand years, a couple years ago when they had Kawhi and PG in the bubble. This team is better than all those teams. And the reason why I think that is because when you put Kawhi, PG, James Harden, and have Russell Westbrook coming off of the bench in a role that he's comfortable with, at any given moment, you're going to have two superstars on the floor at all time. And the problem is, do you have the other elements to make yourself a champion? And have you done too much in regards to removing certain players who were key from your rotation and now just kind of got them sitting, losing value by the second? Terrence Mann, they made him untouchable. And to be honest with you, it's time to change that. They need to go ahead and move him. He's not happy in his role. He's not developing properly in that role. He hasn't developed properly there, period. And he really is a nice player that has some upside, but when you have him filling in for guys like James Harden, the drop-off is rather glaring, and we saw that in the last game. And while Kawhi's been out, and then you consider they have Norman Powell, Coffee, and other players that still need rotational minutes, you really don't have the role for Mann at all. So, in my humble opinion, while he still has value, you would be best to try to shop him now and try to get something for him before he goes off a cliff into that role that ultimately is keeping him stagnant. So this is a real thing for them. They're going to have to make some moves to kind of make their roster make more sense. And I don't know that they're interested in doing that, but it would be wise for them to consider it. Now, something that's caught my eye, is the New York Knicks and their pick situation coming up right now. We know the Knicks have a lot of picks, but what you didn't know is that they have the Pistons pick coming up for this year. And if you were paying attention to the Pistons are the worst team arguably in the history of the sport. Maybe ever. They have 26 straight losses. They've already tied the league low for the worst start to the season. And with two more losses, with games against the Nets, the Celtics, and then followed by the Hawks, I believe it is. So it might be the Hawks, I'm not sure. But with those three games coming up, if they lose all three of those games, they have the record for the worst stretch of losses consecutively, period. And the reason why those two things ain't the same thing is because the Philadelphia 76ers lost their last game the year that they had 26 straight losses, and then lost their first game and continued to lose until 28. So that's why the start is this, and then the record is that. So it's two different records, even though it seems like it shouldn't be. So 26 is the worst start. 28 is the worst, period. And they've just tied at the worst start. And two more losses, they'll have the worst. Actually, three more losses, they'll have the worst, period. So that means for the New York Knicks, depending on the contingencies on that pick, which I'm not really sure what they are, but if that is as bad as I think it is, which is they don't have no protected nothing, if it's unprotected all the way through, and the Detroit Pistons just have to forego it regardless, if that's what it is, the New York Knicks could possibly have a top 3 pick this upcoming season. And they're a very good team. They are a team in the Eastern Conference that many think can do some good things in the playoffs. With Jalen Brunson, obviously Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Isaiah Hartenstein. They got players, man. They do not necessarily need the first overall pick this upcoming year. Or the third, or the second, or even the fourth, or whatever it would be for the Detroit Pistons. Now, granted, the Pistons have had bad luck with the first overall pick. They've only gotten it a couple times. One of them is Cade Cunningham very recently, but it doesn't happen very often for them. They missed out on Wembanyama, and they were horrible last year, of course. So, like I said, top 3, top 5, somewhere in there. Point is, the Knicks are going to get a guy. if that pick doesn't have any contingencies on it. Now, if that pick does have some contingencies on it, lucky Pistons, because they definitely could use that asset. But from what I understand, they don't have any tradable picks. So even if they were to have that asset, for whatever reason, they don't have the ability to trade it. I don't understand that, which makes me think it's going to the Knicks outright. So this is one of those situations where I'm taking this information from a combination of a website that I saw that said the Knicks are getting the Pistons pick, and a Pistons podcast that I listened to 2 nights ago, as to which following I made my own Piston video, and forgot to mention that Marvin Bagley and Killian Hayes are on the team, which would have affected some of what I was talking about, given the fact that I think of those pieces as pieces that both can be traded and have to man a role if kept, for which would have affected my conversation a little bit. So I'm kind of sorry I forgot those guys were on the team, but I don't follow the Pistons that closely. But I do encourage y'all to go check out that video, because the basis of my point is the Pistons need to start shaking some things up so that they can kind of have a cohesive vision for their team that actually makes the players that they use look their best, rather than vice versa. And right now they don't have that, because they picked up a bunch of lottery picks that were probably the best player available, as opposed to pieces that actually come together to make any sense. And then you couple that with Monty Williams, the coach, who has it in his mind that he's going to use players that don't really have any value, but also do not have the ability to really make his team any better. That's the problem. He's using Alec Burks. He's using Isaiah Levers. This is a GM's nightmare. It's the things that you don't want your coach to do, because you can't get rid of those guys unless they play at a certain level that they're not about to reach. So what you need is for the young players like Sasser and Ivy and, of course, Cade to be manning those roles. You don't need Monte Morris out there. You definitely don't need Alec Burke out there. You know, in their last game, from what I understand, he benched Wiseman. Now, I don't know if Wiseman's hurt. I don't know if there's something going on there for a good reason. Maybe he benched him. But from what I understand, Wiseman's been playing well, and he's just been playing, other rotations that don't necessarily help the GM or help the team, really. So, in my mind, I'm looking at the Pistons. I like Bagley, but it's one of those situations where he's going to have to either ish or get off the pot. That's basically what I'm saying to you. If he's not going to play well, then he needs to be sat so that you can play the Jalen Duren, so that you can play Wiseman. You know what I mean? These are players that need to be starting and playing the majority of the minutes so you can play their value up, so that they can actually net you something. Bagley's a nice player, but his value is stuck at where it is. And given the fact that he's kind of a quote-unquote vet on this bad team, one could argue that he's not worth a damn. You know what I mean? Even though he's playing better. But what is it amounting to? And so these are the type of things that we're looking at in regards to the Detroit Pistons. If they're going to put a rotation on the floor, it's going to have the players that are worth something getting the minutes. That's essentially what I'm saying to you. Killian Hayes needs to be played more. Obviously, Jaden Ivey. These are guys that need to be on the floor whether your team is winning or not, so that they can play up to their best, develop themselves some trade value, and then you can ship them out for the highest possible price. Especially given the fact that you have this horrible team losing consecutive games. Everybody can lowball you for everything you have. And the coach is playing guys like, Alec Burks. And not only is he playing Alec Burks, but Alec Burks playing some of the worst basketball in his entire career while he's doing so. I don't ever want to, if I'm a Detroit Pistons fan or GM or owner, I don't ever want to see Alec Burks on the floor in a situation like that. And let this be something that all teams that are going through what they go through consider for the rest of eternity. Do not play the players that cannot give you any value when your team is very bad. Because at the end of the day, or vets and stuff like that are tweeners, role-playing vets, don't ever put those guys on the floor. You are killing your GM, because at the end of the day, they can't net him anything. And what you need to do is get better. And you can't get better if you're playing guys who are already established, who basically can't make your team any better. You can't do nothing with them. And so this is something that Monty Williams, who's been in the league for a long time, should know better than to do. When your team is this bad, don't play no 30-year-old dude. You need to be playing all your lottery picks, specifically in this situation since they got nothing but lottery picks. All the first rounders that they have that haven't developed properly need to be on the floor at all times. And Bogdanovich. And then they're going to have to come around to understanding that Bogdanovich is not worth what they think he's worth, and that's why he's still on their team. If they would have just traded him for a value that made any sense at all, when teams were coveting him, they would have had the asset necessary to have more flexibility to make the moves they need to make today, or maybe even a cohesive basketball club. But now, with him being over 36 years of age, limited in many things outside of shooting the basketball, he's not a covetable player because he's not contributing to your team winning anything. On top of the fact that he's older, on top of the fact that he's limited in various different areas. So when you look at the situation, you got to ask yourself, what can I get for him now? I'm not going to play his value up. He ain't getting no younger. This team sucks. What can I get for him now? If I can pair him and Marvin Bagley together, get something, anything, a second round pick swap, another young player, anything at all is what I would say the Pistons need to be doing. Because if they can't find ways of doing little stuff like that, they're in a hopeless situation, and Monty Williams is a big part of that problem with his philosophies and who he wants to play. So these are the type of things I'm like, yo, man, the Pistons are an abomination, as we discussed in that video. But it's a situation that's getting significantly worse because the coach, with all due respect, doesn't seem to have a clue as to how to make the team better at all. And that, my friends, is something that will keep you in the toilet for sure. So that's what I wanted to say about them. The next thing I wanted to say is I'm not sure that the Memphis Grizzlies won't crawl their way back into a good, respectable place like the 10th seed or the 9th seed. And the reason why I say that is because I don't have a whole lot of faith in some of the teams that are directly ahead of them. And I have a whole lot of faith in what they have now that Ja Morant is back. Playing at an MVP level immediately out the gate. They're winning games. They're immediately going to be better than the teams surrounding them. And I was listening to people talk about them, and they were essentially saying, well, the West is so deep. Yeah, but they're like 2 or 3 tiers higher than everybody else physically. You know what I mean? Their record doesn't tell you that, but it's sort of like when the Lakers made the trade last year and were hovering in the play-in tournament. They weren't really a play-in tournament team. After making the trades that we made, we got significantly better. That is exactly what I'm telling you about the Memphis Grizzlies. They have Ja back. Bane is slipping back into his regular role. For those who are wondering if Bane is going to continue to play at this level, has he not always when he's healthy? It's just who he's been. Now he got a whole nother 30-point scorer, 10 assist guy, champion guy, type guy who can win games down the stretch and take pressure off of him, which means his shots are going to be even better. His looks are going to be even better. So, and you couple that with Jaren Jackson playing at a high level. The only problem that's ever been with the Memphis Grizzlies, if you study them over the last 4 years, you know what the problem was with the Memphis Grizzlies? They always have a main piece out. Always. If it ain't Bane, it's Jaren. If it ain't Jaren, it's Ja. They're always missing somebody. But what you got to understand about them is that they've never played with anybody else. All 3 of those guys have been on this team their entire career, so they have synergy that a lot of these ready-made basketball clubs, pick and plug from a superstar, put them together and make it work type Phoenix Suns teams, they don't have that synergy. Minnesota Timberwolves, as good as they are, they don't have Memphis' synergy. They don't know each other as well as Memphis does. So now you're getting Ja back. Superstar Ja, healthy, being able to practice with the team, so he's in rare form, regardless of the 25-game suspension. Now it's just about them imposing their will on the teams surrounding them in their area. The Portlands, the Rockets, who else? Whoever else is there. With the synergy that they have, we know that the Memphis Grizzlies are a contender. Who did they lose off of their team that they could not afford to lose? Some would say Dillon Brooks. I would argue Dillon Brooks didn't help as much as they needed him to, because he couldn't hit a shot while with the team, but he loved to shoot. But when you look at them, when you really look at what they have, they could use a trade or two to get some better role players in theory, But Ja coming back is like a whole third of their team coming back. And that's a team that knows one another. It's not like Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. They're going to run past the Suns just like the Lakers have been running past the Suns now that they got everybody back. And I could argue they can go on a winning streak so long as nobody goes down. And that winning streak should put them in the 10 range, 9 range before February. As to which they just got to continue to play well and stay healthy. And by the time that happens, by the time April comes around, they're going to be in the range that they thought they would be if for some reason somebody did go down with an injury early in the season, because that's all that really was. Did they start off slow? Yes. It would have been nice if they could have maintained around 500 without Ja. But their team's not wired. It's not constructed to do that. But what it is constructed to do is with everybody there and Ja coming back, win the whole damn thing. And that, my friends, is why I'm looking at the Memphis Grizzlies and I say, anybody that's facing them, looking at their record, thinking that they're going to continue to play like that, is hurting. They're going to hurt themselves. They're going to get beat. Because this is the same Memphis Grizzlies that was at the top of the Western Conference or hovering around the top of the Western Conference a lot of the time over the past several years. Same team. So that's what I want to tell people. That core is intact. And if you're one of those people that don't believe depth is really that important, and you could play a 9-man rotation of guys that are going to play above 30 minutes a game, then the Memphis Grizzlies have as good a chance of reaching their highest point as the Denver Nuggets did last year, of whom won the NBA championship. I'm not saying they're as good as Denver, but I'm also not telling you they're not. That's essentially what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying they're not, because at the end of the day, the Memphis Grizzlies could have won. They could have won in several situations. They had the top seed in the Western Conference at one point. So they got to just outplay teams like Sacramento. They got to outplay teams like Dallas, who's having injury issues. I don't know that they can't, because they've been as good as those teams the whole time. So that's what I'm telling you about Memphis. Y'all got to keep an eye open for the Memphis Grizzlies, especially since the Clippers are starting to have injury issues now. They had a nice little stretch. Things were going well, but like I tell you, I don't believe in them for one reason and one reason only. Because they're the damn Clippers, and I'm from Los Angeles, and I know that. I know people don't believe in that type of stuff. That doesn't tell you what's going on the basketball court. Yeah. And every time they have a contender, I always say that, and it always comes back around to being the same thing. They just are not meant to win. The Clippers are not meant to win. I'm telling you. If ever there was a theory, what do they call those? It's a superstition that holds a lot of weight. It's that the Clippers are cursed to lose forever. It never fails, no matter what they put together. It's always going to be the same thing. And I promise you, as somebody who's been here in this world for 40 years in the same city, it's been the same thing the whole time. It's going to always fail, man. This ain't no exception. I promise, it's going to fail. The question is, who's going to usurp them? And look, the Clippers have cursed themselves. If one is to believe in that, it ain't just about the Lakers and all that stuff that I have to say about my team in regards to the Clippers and how they disrespected us. You got to think about that Blake Griffin thing. They signed that dude to a 6-year contract, 7-year contract, or whatever it was, maximum, and then immediately shipped it out to the Pistons, which was, again, one of the worst franchises known to man over the last 10 years. Like, you deserve to lose. You deserve to lose for a long time. So I just want people to understand, like, Clippers can put together the best team in the world, and they're still gonna lose, because they deserve to, on top of the Clipper curse. And I genuinely believe that. I really, really do. I know people are like, what the hell? But no, that's a real thing, man. It's an absolute real thing, and it always has been. So, moving on from there. San Antonio, you disappoint me, man. Every time I get on here, I talk about the San Antonio Spurs. You got Wembanyama, the most important player coming to the draft since LeBron James, period. And we keep seeing footage of his teammates not passing to him. If you got haters on the team that don't like the dude, regardless if he's earned that or not, you got to get them off the team. Okay? I can fathom a scenario where he's an absolute jerk. Everybody hates him. And I would probably support blackballing him too, and depending on what happened, depending on how horrible of a human being he possibly could be, how much of a pompous jackass he could possibly be. Not to say that he is, but just trying to fathom where one would support the hate. But you still got to understand, it don't matter. It doesn't matter, bro. He's 7'4" with guard skills. He's arguably got the most upside of anybody playing right now. You got to send whoever doesn't like him out of the situation, even if it means he's the only one left. That should be something you're fine with. And whatever his biggest problem is, whether it be something that he did or just his attitude, or if it's nothing, all the more reason to ship the haters out. But you got to ship the coalition against Wembanyama off the team. Because if he gets tired of them and y'all haven't moved him by then, he could be the one saying, I want out, and it's all over for your franchise. You may never get another player like this. San Antonio, you botched the Kawhi Leonard thing. Do not let Jeremy Sohan and whoever else hates this dude on the team botch this situation. Get them off of the team. It's an addition by subtraction situation. It doesn't matter what they're worth. They're not worth anything any damn way. Get them out of there. Jeremy Sohan is cool. He's going to be fine somewhere else. Send him somewhere else. Because the footage of him being hated on, not getting the ball when he's open in consecutive plays, while guys are looking for their own shot, guys dribbling past his open hand to get a layup for which they brick, that type of stuff, even if it ain't a problem, now that ESPN is starting to acknowledge this, and the various different forums are starting to acknowledge that it is a problem, they will make it a problem. San Antonio needs to get ahead of this, man. I don't know why Popovich ain't getting ahead of this. I don't know if he told these players to do that. But that dynamic, in my opinion, is going to hurt them in the long run. You need to get the players off. If it is a bunch of players who hate this kid, or if he did something, he slept with somebody's girl or something, you got to ship them dudes out of there, man. It ain't about whether he's right or wrong. It's about NBA assets and the quality of what they're worth. He is one of the most valuable assets in the league. Whatever the problem is, it's not him. That needs to be said. Whatever the problem is, it ain't him. It's going to be them. They got to go. And if you don't get rid of them, this could trickle down to him wanting to leave. And if that is the case, it's the worst thing in the world for the San Antonio Spurs. It's the worst thing in the world. And given the fact that the team can't win a game unless it's against my Lakers, they can't win a game unless it's the Lakers, there should be no reason to keep anybody. I mean anybody. If I'm the Spurs, I'm having a fire sale, man. And I'm trading everybody not named Victor off of the team. Keldon Johnson, gone. Even if I like them, they're all gone, man. We are reimagining this team around Wembanyama. And you can still tank. You can still tank. But you have to get those people who refuse to get him the ball off of the team. That should be the first order of business come trade deadline. All of the team. If you got a problem with Wembanyama, you're gone. And the fact that I even have to say that is ridiculous. So that's what I want to say about the Spurs, man. You guys are embarrassing. Just like the Pistons. Both of these teams, they suck and they're embarrassing. They don't know how to help themselves and they're doing stuff that's making things worse. And if I'm Cade Cunningham, I've already secretly requested a trade to get off the Pistons, get me out of here. And Wembanyama, I'm not necessarily saying that. But if these dudes keep doing me like that, if I'm him, I will be very soon. Very soon. And so I don't know what the Pistons want to do, just to double back to the Pistons. I don't know what the Pistons want to do, but it seems like the San Antonio Spurs are a great trade partner for you. They got Devin Vassell, you need shooting. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. It's like, yo, give me Keldon Johnson. We're two bad teams. We're going to tank anyway. Give me your trash. I'll give you mine. And let's reset. Let's reset. So that Cade don't have to leave to see a win someday. And so that Wembanyama don't have to dream about being a Laker very soon. For which I'm sure he's already doing. He's already doing. When he's sitting in the paint rolling wide open with a guy that's my height guarding him, and you got a guard who happens to be a natural power forward trying to shoot a fadeaway jumper with a contested hand in his face and he airballs it. These are the type of things that just make you understand that you don't have the friends in that organization that you think you have, or you don't have the cachet as it pertains to that organization that you ultimately would have elsewhere. That's what I'm thinking if I'm the Wembanyama. That's what I'm thinking. And these people ain't got my back like they supposed to. These haters should already be on. Like literally. If they ain't gonna get him the ball, get him gone. So that's what needs to be said there. What else, man? The Orlando Magic, is good to see them win again. And for no other reason, we love hearing the song, man. They got a great team over there, but they had gone on a nice little losing streak, and that is not good for the league. We need to hear the song. We need to hear the song every night. So keep on winning, Orlando. What else, man? There's some other things going on. I don't want to talk about my Lakers in this video. We talk about the Lakers every day. Scoot Henderson's going to get it together. I did drop him in a bunch of fantasy teams, but he's starting to get it together slowly but surely. He'll be himself. People just need to be patient with him. He'll be fine. Anthony Simons is the truth. I would have traded him, but he's playing great right now, so I think his value is even higher now than it would have been when I was considering trading him. I don't know that they want to trade him because he looks like a stud, but I just want to say he's playing great, period. What else is going on? There's a lot of stuff going on in this league that's interesting to me, man. Of course, we got the Christmas games tomorrow, Lakers Celtics. I do think the Celtics would be wise to try to make a small trade to make the team a little bit deeper if possible. Maybe give a pick away to get a player or something. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for them to get themselves an Isaiah Stewart or something like that from the Pistons. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. You know, especially since some of these teams have a fire sale coming up, whether they want to or not. If you're a team without depth and you got a pick or you got some role players, it might be in your best interest. So these ultimately things we're thinking about, you know. Try to figure out what else I want to talk about in regards to this league, man. Because it's a lot. But that Knicks pick, if the Knicks get a guy, oh my God. So being that the Pistons don't keep their pick in theory, somebody would have to fact check that for me. But I'm telling you, Pistons, this is a horrible year for you guys not to have your pick, man. And I don't know what deal you could have possibly did with the Knicks. I can't even think back that far. You probably gave that pick away 7 years ago or something like that. Because I can't think of anything that y'all done with the Knicks that should have gotten them that pick. What could it have been? I don't know. But that was a terrible decision. And this is why I'm not a big fan of giving away picks years and years at a time, ahead of time. I looked up and saw my Lakers don't have their 27th pick from the year 2027. It's going to the Jazz. I'm not a fan of that. What if we have a terrible year that year? What if that's a year after Bron leaves, a year after AD leaves, and we don't reset properly? That could be another one of these type of situations where you're making the Jazz a super contender. You know what I'm saying? By then, George and Hendricks are going to be stars. By then, Markkanen would have well established himself as a star, be shipped out, or whatever it's going to be. It's a lot of stuff that you can see coming for a team like the Jazz in the year 2027 when they're trying to begin the start of their rebuild and got a few studs right now in 2024. It's like, nah, you did not want them, not Danny Ainge, to have your pick. Absolutely not. So I'm just thinking about the Lakers when I consider all of this, because at the end of the day, we're the team that's mortgaged our picks a lot of the time. Clippers, same thing. Teams that mortgage their picks. You better win it now. Put it like that. You would do best to be successful right now, because if things go left and you don't have your picks, at least you could say that you got it done in this era. But that's why I'm reluctant to give away picks, and I want people of all fan bases to consider that going forward. Your team may want to go in right now, go all in, and that may make sense for you, but don't be offering up your picks all willy-nilly, bro. Because I be hearing Laker fans specifically, oh, let's give up this player and get us a role player, and we give up first-round pick. No. Why? Because you don't want this to happen to you some year down the road when you want to get better. You won't be able to get better because you would have mortgaged everything for some random year where you may probably not even win the damn championship. This year will be so gone so quickly, that player will be so nothing, a couple years from now, and you won't realize that some awesome prospect that you really, really want could fall right in the lap of the hands of the team you traded your pick to. I mean, it happens, man. It just happens. We don't know what's going to happen to our team this year, but hopefully we can stay on the trajectory that we hope to be on. And if that's the case, then the Pelicans pick that is ultimately going to be given to them, our pick, which is going to be given to them, won't matter much. But if we fall off a cliff, God forbid Bron and AD get hurt, now we're looking at a situation where the Pelicans are getting a really good pick, as if they need any talent, young talent. They don't need crap, least of all from us. So as far as making trades and giving away first-round picks, I don't want my team to do it. And if you got any sense, you would caution your team not to do it too, unless you're bringing back something that you can retrade for picks, something that's going to ascend in value, get better in your uniform, and then you could trade for even more than what you gave it away for. But if you're trading down in that situation, if you're trading away, say, a guy, and you're trying to get back a super guy, and that super guy is on an expiring contract, and you want to give away 4 and 5 first-round picks, do take what I'm saying seriously. It may not be the right move for you. In fact, probably ain't. And a lot of times you got to be careful. You know, GMs got to be real careful not to sign guys that are going to get worse in your uniform, because you mess around and end up being asked for draft equity to get rid of guys. We've seen that many times. You don't want it to happen to you. And that is something that is also on my mind. You consider a guy like Gabe Vincent. Now we got Gabe Vincent on a 3-year contract, $15 million a year, and it doesn't look like he's even going to play this year. And because he's not going to play this year, nobody's going to want to trade for him in the trade deadline. Nobody's going to want to trade for him in the offseason either. He's going to have to put back on our uniform and then trot back out there off of knee surgery, maybe be half a person he was before. He's aging. He ain't that great to begin with. It's just a terrible contract. And now, if we want to get rid of it, people are going to be like, all right, well, give me some draft equity and we'll take it off your hands. This is why you got to be careful about certain contracts. You don't want aging players on multiple years, because things like this can happen. I know I'm the anti-vet, and I know they say, well, you need vets in order to win. I don't agree. I think you need talent, young talent, in order to win. And if for some reason that young talent, if for some reason you can't make it work, like if you're Detroit and you got nothing but young talent that doesn't fit, then you can trade that young talent for different young pieces that fit. But you absolutely do not need vets in order to win. You just need elements that win. Elements win you basketball games, not old guys who have mileage and mileage and mileage just because they know how to flop a certain way to get the referees to take, to call a whistle. Just because a guy is a good professional, all of that stuff is overrated as hell, man. At the end of the day, this is basketball, and if a guy knows how to ball out and the elements next to him know how to ball out, everybody knows how to come together to make a good team happen. It's the age of NBA 2K. Everybody can play, bro. And that's why I think a lot of these rookies that are not being utilized properly, it's philosophy that's hurting them, not the fact that they can't go. If you look at Cam Whitmore is a starter in this league out the gate. The fact they got him in the G League is because of philosophy. If some idiot wanted Old Man Green on the team and Dylan Brooks on the team when they didn't need him. You got Terry Eason. We've had this conversation many times. You got Cam Whitmore, Terry Eason, and Asura Thompson. You don't need none of them small forwards you signed at all. You just need to play those guys. That's it. Especially with Terry Eason entering year 3. He would have a breakout year if y'all wouldn't have people in front of him playing Jeff Green. What the hell do you need Jeff Green on your team for if you're the Houston Rockets? You got Cam Whitmore. You don't need none of that. Just trot them guys out there and play them. But people have this idea that veterans need to play. It's the same thing we're talking about with the Pistons. Alec Burke. Why is Alec Burke even on the floor? Why is he on the team to begin with? Because people think they need vets. No, you don't need vets. You need to develop the elements of the players around you. The ones that you drafted to be the best players in the world. Those are the people that need to be on the floor showing why you drafted them. And if you got the Alec Burks, Isaiah Levers, and Dylan Brooks, and Jeff Greens in the damn way, guess what they can't show? That they're that good. And what ends up happening? Their confidence goes out by the wayside. They end up falling behind into different roles. They end up taking on injuries because they do get trotted out there seemingly here and there, thus not being conditioned properly for the minutes that you ultimately want to give them. It just tumbles forward to them not being as good as you drafted them to be, and it ain't nobody's fault but yours. Stop believing in vets. If the vet can't play like Gordon Hayward's playing right now, then he needs to be on the outside looking in. Straight up. And I've had this conversation at least 766 times on this channel. But I believe it to no end, man. Yes, it's okay to have a vet on the team here and there, but you don't want him eating up half of your damn cap. You don't want him role-playing Johnny number 1 with a 3-year deal, $15 million. He ain't necessary, bro. He ain't necessary. Play your young guy. Play the guy that you drafted 5 minutes ago, who has all the elements to make your team make so much more sense than this old dude stick figure that only going to play well if the shot's falling, who's been a role player in this league for 10 years and ain't never been no better than that. Get him out of here, fam. There's too much young talent out there to be trotting out these dudes, man. I just saw right now Nick Smith over in Charlotte had 19 points. He can do that every damn night. He can do that every damn night. The boy's more talented than half the people in front of him. But you're not allowing him to play because you got all these other ideas about how you want your team to go that ain't got nothing to do with the elements that come together to make any sense. Play young players. If the rookie comes out and has a struggle season, cool. Then you have another young player who's 3 or 4 years older than him and ahead of him. That's the only vet I really need. Young legs, not overused, not rocked to sleep by some trash role that they've had for the last 15 damn years, always getting cooked by the same superstars. No more. No more. Get these guys out of here, man. If they ain't going to contribute, get them out. So these are the things that come to mind, man. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I keep seeing the same mistake over and over again. And guys like Cam Whitmore, Nick Smith don't get off the bench, can't get their roles. They ain't playing because guys are in the way who ain't never going to get better, who if you try to trade them, they ain't going to get you nothing. Nobody wants these dudes. Get them out of here, man. I've heard rumblings about the Clippers having issues with, I think it's, who is it? Which one of these dudes they picked up? Is it PJ Tucker? I think it's PJ Tucker. Why is PJ Tucker still around, yo? He ain't helping nobody do nothing at all. Hasn't helped nobody do nothing in a long time. Why are people still asking for him to be on the team? And it's like a big shock. Oh, PJ Tucker can't get up. He can't get off the bench with the Clippers. No, duh, he can't get off the bench with the Clippers. Hell no. When you want him on the floor? Before who? All the superstars. Terrence Mann, you want him on the floor over Terrence Mann? And stop playing around, dude. He should be in China. Sorry, it's true. I don't want him on my Lakers because I never want you to check him in the game, period, ever. Boogie Cousins, Dwight Howard. I like these guys. When they were stars, they were stars. Stop asking to put these dudes on the team now, man. They are my age. The only person my age should still be playing is LeBron James. And do you know why? Because he's playing like that. Because he's playing like that. Because he can keep up with guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If he can't keep up with a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the role players need to be young guys who are developing to be better than that. So if you do want to trade them, somebody can say, hey, there's something that can get better in my uniform. Give me that. It's about player value, fam. And these old dudes that y'all think are vets, they're worth squat. And why are they worth squat? Because they've been trotted out there for many, many years in the same damn role, and people cannot upgrade in their mind that this dude is not who he was 6 years ago. Get him out of here. He wasn't that good 6 years ago. And you're going to play him over somebody like Cam Whitmore? You're going to play him over somebody who could potentially be a superstar one day? Like this type of stuff. And then you bring them into on these contracts, and then these coaches are obligated to play these dudes because of the contracts. Even if it's a minus situation, even if they're worse for the team, let me put this guy in the game because we got him on a certain contract, got to justify having him around. Or you could just not have him around. You got to justify nothing if you don't make this mistake ahead of time. Letting these agents con you into selling you the same old damaged goods. Dude wasn't good 6 years ago and you still playing him. Stop it. Stop it. Know when a guy's falling off a cliff and allow him to go to Shanghai, man. He going to make more money over there any damn way. You're going to treat him like a king. Get him out of here. Big 3 is waiting for a lot of these dudes, man. I'm telling you. And so that's what I got to say, man. And look, you got to upgrade. Sometimes the new names come about. A guy that was great yesteryear, he ain't going to be good no more, man. I don't know who's coming up. I don't know which ones it is. But some of these dudes we've been thinking of as nice role players, it's time to go. If you're not playing at a certain level, and if I can't trade you for something, it's time for the Max Christie's to start playing. You know what I'm saying? It's time. Whether the coach believe it or not, doesn't matter. Because when the GMs try to move these dudes, they'll let you know they ain't worth squat. BDL 44, I thank y'all for watching.